excuse me, I'm nearly naked under a pair of waders. I'm just going to spend a half hour trotting and see what we catch. Just chucking some maggots in, having a great time. I like this sort of fishing, keeps me cool. I'm just going to go behind the camera for a bit because I've just had a phone call and came back to answer it on the phone, and had a trot down a bit further up, and there was a bit better chub, not a lot better chub, maybe 4 ounces, and then I had another trot down there, and quite often you get the better fish sometimes right where the bait goes in. They do all sorts of different things, so I'm just going to have a few trots a bit further, stand back a bit more, because it was right on top of where I was actually fishing. So yeah, put one trot in there and then another one a bit further down. There it goes. There we go, it's another little one. Whee! It's a roach. First roach of the day. Only little, bless them. It's nice fishing, this is nothing too stressful. It's nice just to be in the water on a hot day. Start again. There's a bite right at the top of the swim there. So put one in there, hold the bait back, hold the float back onto the bait so it runs down together. Albeit the flow, doesn't flow as nice as I thought it would do. It looked nice flow, but it's a bit all over the place. When it gets down to those trees over there, it sort of goes sideways. Very strange. There's a little bite. Oh, the line's got behind it. There's a fish on. What's this? Little chubby. There he goes. I do like this sort of fishing. It's quite relaxing. Just seeing the float go under. I doubt if we'll get anything special, but it's nice to be in the water. Very hot. Just hold it back in with the others. I'm putting a few floating casters in a bit further down to see if I can tempt right down the bottom there. There's a right old good snag down there. Oh my god, what's this? This is a tiny fish. Look, it's a minnow. Hey, this is probably the staple diet of all the little jack pike and chub and perch, and a lovely little fish. I don't know whether you can see a good picture of the minnow. There he is. We've all seen a minnow before, but it's nice to see. You get a few less of these down here, this end. There's more upstream. I don't know whether that's a sign whether the water's not so good. They're a good bait. Catch lots of perch. Right, get that in, hold that back, get it all straightened up. Away she goes. Straight under. Ooh. It's only light tackle. Oh, I think this might be, no, it's a big bleak. God, look at that. That's a proper bleak. Fat one too. Oh. There's a few dace down here. I'd like to catch a dace. I like dace. Ooh. Oh. This rod is my favourite rod. It's a 15-foot Acolyte Ultra. If you're out in the market for an Acolyte or wanting a trotting rod, get the Ultra, or the Acolyte Plus, not Ultra, sorry. The Ultra is just a bit too light. If you hook a chub, she's going to bully you. Whereas with the Plus, you've got a bit more ooh, a bit more about it. There's another nice chub, little puppy chub. Look at that, bright as a penny. But yeah, that Acolyte 15 foot is a bit too long out here. Whilst I'm doing this, I'll just show you how I hook a cast up. If you can see that, probably not. Just nicking it like that. Like that. Sometimes you can bury it if you're dragging over depth. You can bury them. I'm feeding more casters and maggot to try and avoid the little ones. And I've bought some maggots at the beginning of the week from Medway Tackle, and they're on the turn, so I had to riddle off a pint of casters. I was hoping to go fishing earlier on the week and work got in the way. Bloody work, it's a nuisance. That was a nice, oh, I missed that, that was a nice bite. So yeah, my rig, I should just show you, I've got one of these Carisso hook joiners. These are really good. Nice little 6-inch hook length down to 11mm and just number 8s spread out. It's hard to fish these shallow swims. I'm looking forward to the Corum glide floats coming out, but they are all in like 4 and 5 gram. So it's not, they're a little bit big for these sort of rivers, but the principle's quite good, because it's hard to find when you've got some boily water. This isn't too boily, but when you've got a lot of these rivers are only like 18 inches, 2 foot deep, and it's hard to find a big enough float without every time you strike it goes boom and scaring all the fish. Just hold that back a bit. Yeah, it wants to go under that bank. I thought there might be a bit of undercut under there, but I'm just holding it back, letting it swing round, then letting it go down. It's gone a little bit quiet. I wonder whether there might be. Oh, yep, might be a bit better fishing. Oh, hello. This is a bit better. Not a lot better. Relative to the day's sport. Oh, yeah, 15-foot rod's too big for in here. If I wasn't in the water, it would be a struggle. Beautiful little chubbies. Has he got any maggots in his mouth? No. So anyway, yeah, this stick float, what is it? It's a Dave Harrell #1 insert 8 #4. It's a pretty heavy float actually. Sometimes you need a decent sized float to control in the flow. There is a bit of flow here. It does go all over the place though. Be nice if I get a 3 or 4 pound chub, but that will go like stink in here. Keep going, I've got a couple of hours. I think I might just do this video just like this. I'm not going to add any faff or fart, just straight fishing. In a swim like this where the flow's all funny, it's important to keep tight on the line, because sometimes, so I've got the rod up, I'm just easing that, see look, I've almost eased that float into that fish's mouth. So particularly with dace, oh it's a nice, oh it's not a nice roach. Yeah, well it's a nice roach, it's a beautiful little roach. Particularly with dace, they're really quick biting. I was watching a YouTube video with Hadrian Whittle, and he is a demon at fishing, and he was fishing this tiny little stream on a whip, and he was literally easing the float into them, holding the float hard back, because dace can be so quick biting. I remember when I was a kid fishing on the Medway in Maidstone. All day I was fishing, I could not hit a bite. That dace was so quick. So you just literally holding the line out and just trying not to affect the float too much, and then you're straight on it, because before you know it, that's sometimes why you back shot, put a couple of shot behind the float. Before you know it, the line can get in front of the float, and you'll miss a bite, you'll strike and it's gone. Those damsel flies around the float. I don't know if you can see that. Sometimes if you're holding back, oh that felt a better fish. Oh, round the tree again. Steady. So yeah, sometimes if the flow is all over the place and it's getting away from you, you can put a back shot at #8 just up here, or even 2, even 3 or 4, and then you can hold that back, and that stops this line going in front of the float, which can be a problem. Sometimes if you grease the line above the float, you can see it a little bit better and lift it out of the water, because the flow is never straight. Try back up at the top of the swim. I forgot what I was doing for a while. See if there's any bigger ones down there. So yeah, when you're holding back hard and easing it through at half pace, you sometimes need to put a bit more shot down the line, or extra shot, overshot almost. And then if you, oh, there's a little minnow. That's where the minnows are hiding. No, it's a bleak. Oh, we'll never know what that was. It's gone. Let's try another caster. So yeah, what I was saying about holding it back hard, to just see how sometimes ropes like it like that. Look, I don't know whether you can see that. I'm holding it back hard and then just easing it go. But you can do it on the reel. Takes a bit of concentration, this method. I'll show you in a minute. Get another maggot on. Yeah, you just put the reel in backwind. You need to have a decent bit of flow and just backwind it off the reel. It gives you ultimate control over it, but you do need to make sure that the reel is coming off, the line is coming off, else you can get in a right old muddle. Some people like to feed it off by hand, but I can never do it quite as smooth as I can backwinding. So I'm just getting that nice. I'm probably at third pace there. Sometimes that'll just to get you a bite when nothing else will. The other thing to do is you can put the rod under the water. That slows the flow of the line out of the rod. I think I picked that up off an article by John Allerton, stick float fishing legend. The other thing I remember in that article is trying to find your sweet spot in your swim. There'll be certain spots where the fish are, depending on where you're feeding. I mean, I'm being a bit erratic and feeding all over the place. If you were feeding one spot and the water was deeper, you know, the bait might be moving, and the water's always slower further down in the bottom than the top because of friction. So the friction with the bottom of the river slows the water down. So anyway, your bait, finding the hot spot in your swim and trying to get to it as soon as possible and having your bait ready and rearing, because there's a lot of time you're wasting getting to the good spot. No point. Find your good spot, try and cast to it and get it flowing straight away. Something I'm thinking about, there's a bit of an eddy on this side in there where there might just be a bigger fish lurking in there. I might just drop the float in there in a minute. See that the float's just got away from itself. It's not very deep down there. I haven't plumbed up, but no bites for a while. Yeah, no bites. Maybe when the maggots come off. Quite often, if you haven't got a bite, it's because there's nothing on the hook. Going right down the bottom though. You find the big fish hang back there. I've got to go around that snag, so I'm just going to hold it tight, move the rod over, just let the flow bring it round, and away we go. It sort of stops the flow down there. It sort of goes a bit left. It's a bit weird. I was hoping it would flow right down to that bush, but I think that bush down there is stopping the flow. And there isn't any. You look, that float's not moving at all. Going sideways. Quite strange. Check my bait. I don't think I've got any bait on. Nope. A little bit of weed on the bottom. So yeah, I've got it set barely 18 inches. I'm just going to leave it, maybe a double caster in that bit over there for a little bit longer, see what happens. Probably minnows in there. Minnows like slack water. Just drop it in there, see what happens. Might be something a bit better in there. It's very shallow, this stretch. I remember fishing a swim on the River Itchen, the Lower Itchen fishery, and the pace was right through the middle, and there was a little slack over the far side, not much bigger than that one. Oh, steady. And the trick was to get the float to stay in the far side as long as possible, and literally you had to have the rod right up. It was a difficult swim to fish, but you had to have the rod right in the air and keeping your arm outstretched like this, like that, just to keep the line off the flow. And if you could just get it to stay in there, there was a chub a chuck. If you had it in there for more than a minute, you get a chub, but it was bloody hard to keep it in there. But it was a really rewarding day. I think I had 13, it wasn't even a day, I had 13 chub out that day, or that afternoon. It was lovely fishing, loads of grayling, there's loads of bites in there. What's that? It's another chub. Oh, proper chub. Oh, that feels a bit better. Not a lot better, but could be the best fish of the day. Decent chub. Find that tree. So yeah, that's just off the flow, that is. These are lovely fish, aren't they? Could look at that all day. I'm not looking forward to the walk back to the car. It's not very far, but I've got my waders on and it's like a sauna. I should have just stood in the water barefoot. So yeah, those last few fish were just off the flow there. It's just a slack bit of water there. There's obviously a few fish holding in that slack bit. You've got to work your swim. There's all sorts of little nooks and crannies in a swim where the fish will hold up. That float's just gone out of that slack now, so he's off on the trot. The line's getting away from it. There's a little bite. Yep, line was 6 inches in front of it. I should have known that because the float was leaning the other way. No, that's the bottom down there. So yeah, you just got to keep it tight. Missing 2 or 3 bites now. It's odd. No fish for quite a few runs. Might have had a pike move in. See what's sitting down in the slack water again. I do like watching a float. There's a little bite. They're going to take it. There he goes. Whee! A roach. There's my discordia. Now that fish is taking it well down, and I think I'm laying a bit of line on the bottom. Whoa. It's quite a clean bottom. There's not too much weed down there, but just the way the bite was, just sometimes when you strike you can feel a little bit of a delay till you hit the fish. It's a bit like when you free lining with the chub. You sort of get a bite and the flow has put tension in the line, and so you can feel the bite, but actually connecting with the fish takes a little while. Quite a strange sensation. Boat's going backwards, shouldn't be doing that. A little bleak. Bleak are the worst things. They quite often take the float as soon as you get it, and it's hard for it to set, or you don't realise it hasn't set properly. Again, I don't know how that Hadrian Riddle caught 54 pound of them in the Y. Unbelievable. Surprised I have no gudgeon yet. Ooh, or dace. Just tons of little chubs. They're pretty. Oh! He's gone. Ooh. Just amazing how many. Oh, no, I thought that was a dace then. Just amazing just how many little fish there are in here. Such a relaxing way to fish. I mean, I've hardly got any gear. Just an hour or two, just running a float down a river. Takes away all the sins of the world. Nice to catch a decent fish, but quite enjoying catching these little ones. Little roach. Oh, and then it's strange when that float goes over there. Let's just try that side of the run. Sometimes just you go down the same channel, try and just pull it to the left, see what's over there. I mean, if there were matches down here, which there aren't anymore, you know, you can pretty much, most swims you can get 3 or 4 pound of those little bits. Trying to get a bigger one in amongst them, that's the key to, or was the key. You know, nobody does any matches down here anymore. Nobody does matches down here anymore. Bit of a shame, really. I've nearly got through a pint of casters and I've probably only been here half hour, or maybe 45 minutes. I've been lashing it in. Yeah, just get it all laid in nice, bait behind it, hold it back to the bait, drop it through. It's not something you can do for hours and hours and hours, stick float fishing. You go fishing all day on the stick float, you will be exhausted by the end of it, because it's hard work running a float through every minute or so. Can't do it for long. Suits me quite well. I'd like to know what that was. That was a little bit different, that one. I'll go down in the slack a minute. From my match fishing days, I'm very conscious about how much feed goes in, and just balancing it to bite to feeding ratio to attract them but still catch them. If you put too much feed in, you're not going to catch them. But this sort of swim, there's plenty of flow, plenty of little fish, so you can put quite a lot in. You don't have to worry about it too much. But some places, you know, if you're going to chuck in 5 kilos of bait and you're fishing one particle over the top, what are the chances of them taking your bait? Pretty slim, I'd say. Right folks, I'm all done. I'm going to go home. I've got to negate the jungle up there and it's cooled down a bit. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe.